We're told all of our lives to chase our dreams. Do what you want, do what makes you happy. But the reality is, it's difficult to chase your dreams. Someone in middle school, your middle school teacher probably your elementary school teacher, your parents, whoever, told you that you can have whatever you want in life. You should chase your dreams. But they left out the challenge. Today I'd like to address that challenge and give you some perspective so that you can better find what your dreams are and turn them into a reality. And so let's go back to the childhood portion where we're told, yes, you can be anything, you can have anything, you should want anything. And then we grow up a little bit and we realize, hang on, this is a little difficult. Like, maybe it's your chemistry class that made you not want to be a scientist, or your physical education class that said maybe I'm not cut out to be an Olympian. And this is where it gets people. This is the trick, because we find that initial challenge, we find that struggle, and then we create a belief about ourselves. That belief says, I can't do it. That grade tells you that you can't do it, right? You didn't study hard enough, but you did study. You gave it your best. But if that grade is a B minus, and your household doesn't accept it, maybe you're just not cut out for it. Maybe I didn't really want that. And hey, some people struggle in stuff more than others. You know, we all have the stuff that we're naturally inclined to, and the stuff that maybe we need a little bit more work on. And that's just a part of life. But to say that you can't do something because of a letter or a belief about yourself is going to keep you stuck. And so we start to formulate those beliefs early on. We find people who are naturally gifted at that chemistry class that we did bad on, or very athletic, like right out the gate. But we don't know what was behind that, right? Maybe you got to middle school and you've never really run like that in your life, but you decided you wanted to be an Olympian. And your best friend has been running ever since he was like 5. Running with his parents. You don't know all that. You didn't see all that. You say he's naturally talented, but he's just put in more work than you have. And maybe he's still naturally talented. That doesn't take away from them, you know. Talent is everywhere, and there's enough skill, enough resources for everybody to be great if they pursue it. But you compare yourself. You start realizing, okay, well, maybe I'm actually better at art because I'm a little bit more naturally inclined, but I don't really like art like that, you know? And so your path starts to shift. The dream from firefighters, scientists, and astronauts gets a little muddied out by Calculus 1, Calculus 1, Physics C, and whatever statistics that you had to take. And I get it. I'm living it right now. That's reality. I mean, it gets harder. The classes get harder, but everything gets harder as you get deeper and deeper into something, like skill-wise. But, you know, that's just part of the process. And I think a lot of the times we're told to chase our dreams, chase what we want, but we're not taught what it takes to get there. And again, we see a lot of people stuck, a lot of people sinking into themselves, maybe after high school. People that you looked up to for confidence and proficiency and whatever it was that they're doing will shrink down a little bit when they go from athletics to business finance, for example. Completely different ballpark, completely different skill set, and you gotta be good. If it's something you want, you gotta be good at it. And so all that is to say, the beliefs that we make about ourselves, the beliefs that we form based on the people around us, and bring in the work, I'll talk about this more in a second, and also the work that we're willing to do, ultimately dictates, I guess, what our dreams are, you know? Because those big dreams that we had, again, firefighter, whatever, we've already done the list, were dictated by our ability, or we thought, our perceived ability, to actually achieve that. I want to be an astronaut. Going into space is cool. Until the road to get there looks really, really, really freaking difficult. All the classes, all of the people that you may or may not like, you know, different social spaces too. That's the thing. Intellectual spaces are not for everybody. As well as you have to be fit to a certain level too. Like, you gotta be smart. They're not just putting randos up there, right? And you have to have a certain personality that's like conducive of your employer's goals and the vision that they set, you know, all of that, all those things. And so you see that, and then you shrink down a little bit. And when you shrink, that's dangerous, because what you're doing is you're retreating into your shell, so to speak. You're saying, hey, this is scary. Maybe I'll just stay here. Maybe I'll just pull back a little bit. Maybe I don't really want this. Maybe I don't like this as much as I thought I did. And maybe that's right. Maybe that's right, but maybe that's also fear talking. Maybe it's just, I don't want to struggle this much for something I thought I wanted. And a lot of the times that's what it is, because what you might find when you shrink down is, okay, well, maybe I don't become a firefighter. Maybe I become a, what's a profession? Maybe I just work at Chipotle for a little while, build up a little bit of money, invest in the stock market, and nothing wrong with Chipotle. But, I mean, it's just different, you know? You wanted to be a firefighter for what? To save people? You thought they were cool. Maybe you had a family member that was a firefighter, and you always looked up to them. And now you're doing Chipotle to survive. And again, not to knock on anybody who works in service or Chipotle or anything like that, but I'm saying it's not what you wanted. And what you want, again, changes. It does. But don't let that reason be because you don't think you can achieve it. If what you want changes, fine. But you better make sure you worked your hardest. You better make sure you put in that effort in whatever it is that you thought you wanted before you call it quits. Otherwise, you're cheating yourself out of the opportunity. You're cheating yourself out of your own dream. Think about that. The world didn't steal your dream. You stole your dream. Because you were willing to settle for something less than what you actually wanted. You shifted it. You shifted the goalpost back. Made it easier to achieve. And in doing so, you settle with whatever the consequences are. Because the reality is, you might not even really like what you settled for. What you shifted the goalpost back to. Might not even be your passion. You might be okay with it. A lot of people are okay with it. Okay with their jobs. It's alright. But is that your calling? Is that what you want to do every single day for the rest of your life? That's probably not it either. Even if you really like something, you'll probably change your profession sooner or later. But I'm just saying, if you're doing something that you just or like, I'm here, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Really think about that, because, and I know some people are going to get mad about this, but like, you can have what you want. People should get mad because you can have what you want. But the other part to that is you have to want and work for it. That's the part. That's the second part. You have to work for it. And this relates to my last video about failure. Lean into the failure, lean into the hard, because it's going to suck at times. You're not always going to love what you do. Even if you're in a field that you completely love, you're not always going to love it. And as you get better in anything, things are going to suck. Because you have to drill in the new skills, the new knowledge, the new information that helps you grow. You have to. It's going to suck at times, but again, that's nothing to be afraid of, because that's the process to be great. You got to get those impurities out, you know? To refine something, it's about getting the impurities out. To make the sword, you have to sharpen and sharpen and sharpen and sharpen the iron until eventually it's sharp enough to cut through whatever you need to cut through. Humans are a lot like that as well. But rather than just leave the iron on the table, you take the knife or whatever tool you use to sharpen iron. I don't know. More iron, I guess. You take the more iron, sharpen it a little bit, and say, this hurts. And then you put it down. And then you grab something, maybe some rubber, and try to cut the same thing. It's just not going to work, right? It's just not going to work. Point being, it's easy to retreat because we weren't taught as we should how to pursue greatness, what that really means when we were young. And your dreams are nothing to be afraid of. Fear is going to take control sometimes, but you got to learn to work through it anyway. You got to learn that your dreams being big are not a bad thing at all. You want your dreams to be big. Your dreams should scare you, because if your dreams scare you, you know you're working towards something great. Not everybody can work towards big dreams. That's why people settle. So you know you're on the right path if it takes a little bit more effort than you would expect normal to be to get there. And I mean, really, who really knows the effort it takes to get there until you actually get there? We expect to do a certain amount of work to get to certain places. And what you got to understand is that until you've got there, you really have no seat at the table. And so you keep working. And so you keep pushing through the hard. And then eventually you get there. You hit your milestones. You hit your goalposts and whatnot. But it's a process. And I just want to encourage you to look into that process. Look into, how do I get there? Not how do I bring this closer to me, the goal closer, but how do I build myself up to where I'm achieving that goal and I'm thriving, or I'm achieving my dreams and they're becoming a reality. That's what I want to leave you with. So if I provided you any value today, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to build a community of like-minded people who want to improve every single day and just talk, So I'm going to figure out how to end these videos. Y'all take care.